Hey everybody, Ryan here, and I am in Charleston, South Carolina, and I am heading to Fort Sumter, where the start of the Civil War began. But as I'm walking, I am on this really old cobblestone street. You can see here. There's some really cool old buildings. Almost every single one of these hotels, buildings, shopping districts, they're all historically preserved with signs on the front, which I really do enjoy. Some of them are built from the 1600s, 1700s. It's really interesting. But I can try to show you uh, here is one of these old houses. They have a real nice style. And if you could see here, I don't know if you're able to see, right there, right there, is the historical plaque showing when it was built, and this one was built in 1670. This house, but there's a lot of history here in Charleston, and hopefully I'll be able to show you some of that over the next few days. But I will stop it here, and I'll basically just combine all sorts of videos together. But next is Fort Sumter. So I will see you in just a few minutes. All right. So I am now in front of the Liberty Square. This is where Fort Sumter area is, with Fort Multor or Multori. If I'm saying that wrong, I probably am. But both of these forts were built to defend Charleston Harbor. Fort Sumter was Union controlled, which was the north. Fort Multor, I'll just call it, also was built, believed by Union forces, but it was occupied by South Carolina troops after they were one of the first states to secede. They literally fired shots from on Fort Sumter, and Confederate ground troops then proceeded to fire cannons and eventually make it to where Fort Sumter surrendered. So this is the area. You could see Liberty Square sign right over there. It's blurry because of the vlog style, but I can show that. Some of those homes, by the way, that I was showing you that are so old, from 1630s and beyond. There are some that were built in the 1800s. Those are basically 2 million or above, which is insane. It's insane. I couldn't afford that in my lifetime unless I got that much of a better job. But we'll see. So here is Liberty Square, and I will kind of now just show you a little bit of walking around, and we will go to Fort Sumter. Fort Wagner is where the 54th Massachusetts Infantry that I told you about, one of my favorite regiments, the first Negro regiment or Black regiment, fought. That was one of their major battles where almost 50% of the regiment were killed. Most of them did survive. Unfortunately, most were taken as prisoners of war and were taken to Charleston jail, where, because they were Negroes, because they were black, they were treated as runaway slaves, whipped, beaten, and eventually hanged as public display to Union soldiers to kind of prevent them from trying to escape the jail, which is kind of sad. But I'm walking around here, and this is a nice area, but I will be back with you in just a minute when we're headed to the fort. Okay, so this is what Fort Sumter would have looked like during the time of the Civil War. So the soldiers would live in these buildings here. Cannons all the way around. You had 3 stories or 3 tiers. If I could try to show. If you see, like right there would be the first tier, second tier, and then third tier. This wharf is where they would get resupplied, or soldiers would show up. And eventually Confederate forces took over the fort when the Union forces surrendered. Here is a cool miniature diorama of what it looked like from Confederate forces' point of view firing on Fort Sumter. These are 10-inch mortars, or 10-pound mortars. And just think, this is what it looked like from their point of view. Alright, so I am here at Fort Sumter. I'm about to leave. They only give you an hour and 15 minutes, and just as a history buff, of course, I'm having a field day, and I had to see everything. But there's not much else to see. This is basically the remnants of Fort Wagner. This, behind me, this black structure is called Battery Isaac. It was actually built in the middle of Fort Sumter during World War II. So, trying to just walk around here, show you a little bit. Back here, right back there, is where some of those big buildings were that I showed you on that diorama model. It's also where they lived. The kitchens, storeroom, right next to where most of those guys slept, right back there, is the magazine room, or the powder room. And that is basically where they stored all their ammunition. And during the battle, there were so many fires sparking out inside Fort Sumter that the Union major at the time saw this, and the fires kept spreading near that magazine room, and that is when he ordered the ceasefire and basically surrendered the fort to Confederate forces. So it lasted until the Confederates lasted in the fort roughly till 1865, near the war's end. Union forces did bombard the fort to rubble during 1863 to 1865, when Confederate forces still held out. So most of this is what is left. Some of it has been reconstructed around World War I, and they fixed up a little bit better too during World War II. But most of it is what it is now. Where Battery Isaac is, I will show you. Just again, the big black structure there had 2 cannons on top, like one right over here one right over there. Well, before World War II started, those cannons were now obsolete and they were scrapped, and they had to put new cannons up there. So, but where this big black structure, Battery Isaac, is, that is where the other set of housing and kitchens and living quarters were for the soldiers, for Union and Confederate. Unknowingly, though, I do not know how much of a living space they had left after bombardment of Fort Sumter. Like, did some of those buildings survive? I have no idea. I would actually love to know that, but they do not state that. But the Confederates and the Union forces did live here for years at a time, and they would get picked up and off of that wharf I mentioned in the diorama with supplies and reinforcements, or leave, of course. But that is pretty much it. I did hopefully include a video of me raising the flag over Fort Sumter, so that is a pretty cool experience, and it's a cool history buff moment. So hopefully you enjoy. This is like a new vlog I'm trying to do. A few videos I'll combine here for day one. I still have a few more locations to go to. I don't know if I will vlog those. Again, I am sorry I can't vlog everything with Fort Sumter. I wish, again, there was more. Most of the third stories are gone. If you could see, this is only one story. There was two more on top of that for 3 stories. Actually, right there is the flag I helped raise. But if you see that little red spot right where my finger is, that is the height of the buildings. So that is the height of the 3rd story, was where that flag was and where my finger was. But that's pretty much it. It's hot, it's humid, and we're about to go back on the boat here in just a moment. So I will vlog some other moments, but this is a goodbye to Fort Sumter, and I'm walking right through the main gate. A lot of history here, and they're trying to do some reconstruction too, because some of the walls and buildings are actually falling apart. So a lot of the area is blocked. But this is the entrance, and this is where I will leave you. So I will see you in a little bit. Alright, hey everybody, Ryan here for part 2 of Savannah vlog. Right now I am walking on River Street in Savannah, Georgia, and this is, again, if you know me, many of you do, one of my favorite movies ever is the movie Glory, a Civil War movie about the 54th Massachusetts Infantry. And in that movie, they are marching down a street that was filmed here, and they used a facade, just fake fronts of buildings on this side behind me right here, because this is all riverfront. But if you look here, that right there, the brown building there, is where they start turning to the left, if you ever saw. And I can't show you now unless if I walk up further back to where I was, but there is a gold steeple, which is a part of their it's their city hall. And some people were saying, if you were paying attention, you could see they forgot to edit that part out. I think it looks awesome in the scene personally. Again, I've watched it over 200 times, but again, there's a little bit of a higher elevated footpath here, so you might be able to see it. I know it's going to be blurry because of the vlog, but I'm trying to see. I don't think you can see it. But I did comparison photos from the movie in this street, and this is the street. So Um, also, the sun's in my face, so. You might be able to see the steeple. If not, it's fine. But I'm gonna go to a few more locations that they filmed here in Savannah for the movie Glory, and I will also show you those locations. So, see you in a little bit. Okay, so this is the last portion of the Glory movie set reveal. Uh, this is River Street in Savannah, Georgia. So I don't know if you could tell by my vlog on that street, but there are railroad tracks or like trolley tracks. Here they are in the movie. But I will play this scene, and right here, that building, I hope you could see that orange building there, or brown building, that is the brown building or orange building I showed you in my vlog. So hopefully, again, you could see that. Maybe I could move this closer. And then I'll just turn that down. Okay. There it is. Yeah, clearly. You can see it right there. Also, right here, right there, that is a facade. That is the front of a fake building. Because if you recall, right here is all river. So they really were able to cover that, again, with movie magic. It's weird how I am talking, bending down like this. This is bad. But I literally walked along this street. All these buildings are still there. You saw them in my vlog. The only thing that's different is that they put flags and they put fake ad signs for old companies back then in Boston, Massachusetts that would have existed in the 1800s, into 1860s. And then right there is the gold steeple. That's their city hall. In Boston, Massachusetts, they actually have a gold steeple city hall like this, but they forgot to edit that out. They were gonna put in the actual one from Boston, Massachusetts, but the director or someone forgot, apparently, in one of the stories I've read about the movie, or I think they just left it because, you know what, they're both gold steeples, and it just makes the scene, I think, more like better than having a edited, like, fake background. I think this looks great with how they did all this. And right there you could see is that curve. I walked right alongside this curve, walked up the street they came, and then I turned around and walked back. So you literally could see a bend in the road where the trolley car tracks changed. And that is right next to that building right there. So hopefully you enjoy that. And now back to the vlog. Hey everybody. All right, another quick thing. This house here is actually used in Glory. It is the Mercer Williams house and museum. But right here in the movie is where Shaw and Cabot, his friend, were talking about being the colonel and the major to the 54th Massachusetts in the movie Glory. Again, this is an amazing thing because right here, these gates is what Matthew Broderick, they're hot, held on to in the movie. So I am really liking this. Bugs are flying all around me. It's Savannah in the summer. There's bugs everywhere. So hopefully we'll be able to go inside where they filmed a lot more in the movie, and hopefully I'll be able to show you photos and videos there. Again, it is a museum, so they most likely will tell me no. Maybe I'll sneak in some. Who cares? All right, let's go see. Okay, so this is the Mercer Williams house. This was in Glory. You saw it from the previous thing on my vlog. But here is the scene from the movie.
and it's just to show how much it has not changed. So in just a second here, you will see. Well, first of all, the posts are still the same. Uh, this movie is a great movie. You should all watch it, Glory. But you could see this is the exact gate I touched, uh, where Matthew Broderick, his hands are. Uh, you could see the wrought iron gate and the right, like the iron ball right there. So just a cool shot. Okay, so just to show you a scene from the movie.
Okay, quick update. I hate the South. They would not let me take photos in there. It's a home, so everything's a relic. But hopefully, either here or after this quick video, I'll have some photos of what it looked like inside and from where they shot the movie Glory inside. So either I'm good at editing here, but most likely I won't. So just look at the stuff after and I'll probably just do a voiceover. So here is the actual Forrest Gump bench that was used in the movie that helped put Savannah on the map, they said. So this is something cool. So I did it, I'm able, and I got inside of the Railroad Museum where they filmed most of the movie Glory. I tried to show you the other day. They are so nice here, the workers, so they let me come in for free just to look around. So here, behind me is, if you've seen the movie, I'll try to see if I could show little clips here and there, but right there is where Shaw and all the black soldiers were lined up getting their muskets in the movie. And I think Shaw looked over there, and they were just like acting like they were shooting each other. Right here is the tower from the movie. And of course, I can't really tell which way they came in because they were marching. Everything was all muddy, like there wasn't all this grass, and I think they did it too to cover the railroad tracks that are all around this area. But again, this is here in the movie. Multiple scenes have this in the movie. I believe this is the building, or I think it's the one across from the corridor where they were training with the rifles and the bayonets. I know it was like a big brick room building, and I think you can hear the closer look at the chimney tower. And they had big doors, like these have big doors. This is the blacksmith shop, but I will try to see. I don't know. I mean, it looks like an old building. I can't tell if this was used in the movie or not. It had to be used. Most of these buildings were used in the movie. I think the next one, though, is here. I remember in the movie, if you know the movie or not, again, I will try to put some scenes if I am able to, but there was some of the things with the falling apart buildings, and right here is one of those buildings that looks fallen apart, and then right behind me is another one, and here is this corridor I was mentioning. Right back there is another one, but I don't remember ever seeing that. I think in the movie they faked a few of the brick buildings easily, just because it looked like there was multiple story buildings here in the movie, and right now I'm not seeing any of those. So I'm pretty sure this is one of the buildings where they did the rifles and bayonets. It's closed for maintenance, so I can't go in. I'm pretty sure they used both of these. But this is so cool. I'm like geeking out. Because again, I watched Glory over 200 times. And it's so awesome just to say I was here. I am literally walking where they filmed a lot of the scenes. Um, so I'm, I'm all nerding out with the history and the movie here. So I'm just gonna show one last time, just for myself, the tower and the chimney, and I'm trying to see if I could pinpoint where they came in. I know in the movie it was at the far right end, or like the 1 o'clock position. So most of them had to be over here where I'm walking to. But movie magic. They have like some of the trains going by, the old trains, because this is still a road museum, but they still allow you to take out some of the old trains on the tracks here with the workers, of course. But like this little white thing, I don't know what this is, but it's all concrete. That wasn't in the movie, so they like edited that out. But here is kind of like what you would have seen in the movie. They had a stage where they were walking on, where Shaw was. The men would be around here. They had a giant opening, so I don't know if I'm in the opening. I think I am, because they had carriages to deliver the uniforms, but I thought there was a building right here next to them, so maybe again they just used a facade to cover this, and they came in here. And this might have been where the stage was. Matter of fact speaking, I think, because they were next to each other. And they were all lined up here in the mud. So yeah, this is it. This is it. So this is awesome. I'm really glad they actually let me in for free to check it out. So that's it for me here.
Okay, another scene from Glory. This is where they were training at the train station museum that I went to, that you are going to see in the vlog. This will probably come out after that on that video. But just to show you, here's them marching in like I described it. And then you will see there is the chimney, the giant chimney. And some of the old, you can't really see that well back there, but those are the holes where the buildings were caught on fire. I literally walked in this courtyard that you see on the vlog. The long brick building here, I did not know what it was at first. I thought it was where they trained with the bayonet. I was wrong. I found out watching the movie again on the plane ride back to Las Vegas that I was actually in where they were eating. So that's where they ate in the movie. I'm not going to bore you with that. But then right here, along this side, is that long building where I said all the soldiers were marching in and waiting for their rifles. That's right there. So literally they filmed so many scenes in just this tiny little courtyard. I'm blown away. Again, movie magic, Hollywood magic. But they made this area feel much bigger than it actually is. I'm not joking. This is a small area. There's not much of the railroad depot at all. Right here, this curved building, I walked around it, but actually that's where they keep all the trains. So they basically moved those trains out, but kind of hid the tracks using hay. So they threw hay everywhere. So if you ever watch the movie and wonder why there's mud and then hay just thrown on a wooden floor or on a stone floor, that is where the railroad tracks were. So it's actually kind of cool they used that to hide them. So another movie moment from Glory that I was actually at.
Hey everybody, so real quick, behind me here are some rows of the real 54th Massachusetts. Some of them their bodies were brought from Fort Wagner where they died in real life. Some did not serve at that battle. Other ones did survive the battle but died of other wounds and diseases and injuries. So they were all buried roughly here. In front of me are these little plaques or little monument towers, which I am guessing is massive unknowns because most of the soldiers don't know their name or didn't know their names, and people didn't know their names. So that's pretty much it. Just kind of being respectful here. But that's pretty much it. I am flying out of Charleston in a few hours, so I just wanted to come and visit this area. I'm going to a plantation here in a little bit, so maybe I can vlog there for last bit of time. But most of these are all 54th Massachusetts Infantry. So, bye. So, I just found this. This is the 55th Massachusetts, another black regiment. But we're buried here from the Battle of Foley. But here, in this little plot, are 19 African American men that were taken from Fort Wagner. So it's kind of cool. So 19 members of the 54th are buried right here. This could be officers, white officers, this could be colored men. No one knows. Again, when they got their bodies, most of them are skeletons at that point, and were brought here. Now here, too, I will show you all these little headstones. All are marked with just numbers or unknown in this area. So it's actually really cool and really interesting. Most of these could also be 54th Massachusetts, because they have a pillar or a column, right? And it's basically dedicated to African American soldiers who fought against oppression and against the rebellion for the Confederacy in the Civil War. So I think this is cool, honestly. But again, no one knows who is buried here, unless I showed you the ones up front already. They have names because they died in a hospital, so they were able to tell a nurse, a doctor, a surgeon their name. But sadly, the soldiers that died here in the battle at Fort Wagner, many will never be known because of course they don't have dog tags back then. They only know you if a buddy found you after the battle and he survived, or if they wrote down you wrote down your name in your uniform. But sometimes Confederates or the enemy took your pieces of uniform that could have had a name in it or initials. Again, those times were tough because, again, no one knew really what to expect of names and ideas like that. So I was even talking to one of the coordinators here, a good guy, knowledgeable guy. He even said that if they think they're a part of the 54th, 55th, or one of the other United States colored troop regiments, they would put them in different sections to where they had the room, but then they would of course try to either relocate them or at least put just a name or a plaque saying they're from the 54th. But most of them are all marked unknowns. If Robert Gouldshaw, the commanding officer to colonel, was here, he would be thrown in an unmarked grave with an unknown above his name. It's hard to tell. That would be for the other officers too, the white officers that died with them at Fort Wagner. So it's kind of hard, it's sad, and most of them will never be known. But I mean, they were known to history and they're known now for their actions on the Battle of Fort Wagner. But that's pretty much it. I mean, this is a nice area. I'm going to go to the plantation and try to vlog there and then I'll be flying back to Las Vegas. So hopefully you're enjoying these little vlog things. I know they're not all long. I know some of them are short and just random, but when you're busy and they don't allow you to film in a lot of places, you just have to make do. So, all right, bye.